Your Faith is Your Fortune by Neville Goddard. You know, what I've learned from this journey is that there are multiple ways to bring things into creation. And whatever you believe to be true will be your reality, right? There are some that believe that what you create is based on what you do in the physical world through your physical experience, through your five sensory experience, right? Like, for instance, through hard work or through consistency, through the mechanics, through taking action, or through perseverance. And there are others that believe that the prerequisite to success is fusing imagination, vibration, and the feeling of the wish fulfilled, right? The former requires physical evidence and proof to generate belief, whereas the latter requires belief and faith in order to produce the evidence, you know? And when I look at this, I relate to myself, and in the infancy of my journey, I relied heavily on my five senses to determine what I believed. But I also realized that when you surrender to your intuitive guidance, something beautiful will happen, right? You will understand that you are being guided by faith. And when you connect the dots looking backward, you understand that you can bring what you desire into fruition. You understand that if you formulate an idea in your mind and in your heart, you can have it. Neville states that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning was unconditioned awareness of being, and the unconditioned awareness of being became conditioned by imagining itself to be something. And the unconditioned awareness of being became that which it imagined itself to be. So did creation begin. So, what does Neville mean by this? Neville means that in the beginning of everything, there was an entity known as God or spirit or substance, whichever you're comfortable with, which embodied and created this rational principle in which everything was founded. This can also be seen as unconditioned awareness of being, you know, and this is what we are at the core, at the essence, and through imagination of being what you desire to be, unconditioned awareness becomes that in which it imagines itself to be. And this is the origin of creation. And Neville goes on to say, by this law, first conceiving, then becoming that conceived, all things evolve out of no thing. And without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made, meaning this is the basic principle of creation, right? Each and every one of us has been blessed with the power to go within and bring forth that in which we desire, right? All creations, all manifestations have one originating starting place. As he said, first conceiving, then becoming that conceived. Now, when we know this, we turn our attention away from the outside world because we understand that all creations are a byproduct of imagination, your desires, and internal alignment. And when things originate from this space, we create a life with more ease and flow. You begin to understand the importance of nurturing your thoughts and making time, again, making time for self and filtering what information is impressed on the subconscious. And I mention and I reiterate time because oftentimes when it comes to this work, people say, I don't have the time to focus on my imagination. I don't have the time to meditate, or I don't have the time to create space because I'm busy doing the things, taking the action, focusing on my behavior. But when Neville says all things evolve out of no thing, and without this sequence, there isn't anything that is made. He's saying that when you believe that what you experience in your world and what you make is solely a result of the actions and behaviors that you take and not the result of what has been impressed on your subconscious via imagination and desire, you lose focus of the true sequence of creation, which is expression follows perception. It does not precede it. And this is the process of creation. It requires you to have faith in the unseen so that the unseen becomes seen. It's also about what you decree. Neville said, man can decree a thing and it will come to pass. Man has always decreed that which has appeared in his world. He is today decreeing that which is appearing in his world, and he shall continue to do so long as man is conscious of being man. So what does he mean by this? Well, what you believe in your heart will be spoken out loud and will come into being because your words are a reflection of your beliefs. They are a reflection of what you imagine to be true. They are a reflection of what's been impressed on your subconscious, thus being expressed in your outside world. We have to remember your words carry vibration and they attract what you believe. So then the question becomes for all of us, what are you decreeing to be? What are you saying about yourself? What are you imagining in your dreams? What are you saying about your desires? What are you saying that you believe is possible or that you don't believe is possible? For me personally, when I became aware of this, I would start paying more attention to what I would say to myself and to others. And then by doing so, I was able to really see if my desires were aligned with my beliefs based on what I was saying and what I was decreeing. Oftentimes, you'll hear people say that they want to experience a life that's more opulent or more abundant, or they want to experience more happiness in their life, for instance, but they constantly feel depressed. You ask them how they're doing today. Oh, it's terrible. How are you doing today? Oh, it's terrible. They're always down and upset. But as a result of decreeing this, they continue to experience this in this world because you attract who you are, not what you want, right? They have this desire, but they allow their limited beliefs to be impressed on their subconscious. And as a result, this is decreed by them and expressed in their outside world, right? We need to look at our lives sometimes and take personal inventory and see, what are you decreeing and is it aligned with your desires? Because what you decree is what you believe, and this is what will be experienced in your outside world, right? Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be established unto thee. So it's about consciously claiming yourself to be that in which you seek so you can receive that in which you desire. So claiming yourself to be what you desire to be requires faith. And as you align with this faith and belief, you step into your truth. You align with your higher self. The principle of truth, as stated by Neville, ye shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. When you understand that you are responsible for your creations, you no longer put your attention on the outside world. You begin to understand that your 5 sensory experience is merely a projection of what you've created. But as long as you continue to believe that you can manipulate the physical world to create that in which you want, you'll never know the truth of creation, right? To know the truth requires you to shift your level of consciousness. It's to know that your outside world is merely a reflection. It's man's conditioned consciousness projected outward. So to take your attention off the 5 sensory experience and to move it inwards is to die to one state and to live in another. Now, for me personally, I find this to be extremely empowering because the day that you believe this is the day that you stop putting your happiness in other people's hands, right? You don't require validation from others or the belief and acceptance from others in order to bring forth what you desire and in order to experience what you desire. Because as Neville stated, that in which you are seeking is not found in others because the kingdom of heaven is within. And when you change your concept of self, your world will change to match the changed concept of self, because man's concept of himself determines that in which he sees his world to be. Assume the consciousness of that in which you desire to express. Claim it until it becomes a natural manifestation. Feel it and live within the feeling until you make it your nature, right? Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Repeat that action until that assumption becomes real, until it solidifies and becomes a real experience for you. The reward is to the one who endures. Stand still. Standing still is the deep conviction that all is well. It is done. No matter what is heard or seen, you remain unmoved, conscious of being victorious in the end. When you assume the consciousness of that in which you desire to express, you have an unwavering faith that what you desire to manifest will come to pass. And when doing so, you stand firm in your knowingness that what you desire is being prepared for you and will soon be brought forth. The changes in the external conditions are moot because your foundation is sturdy, it's solid. Therefore, when you're experiencing things that are not in alignment with what you desire, you don't waver. When obstacles appear, you don't back down. When things look gloomy, you don't turn and run for cover because, like any undesirable weather condition, you remind yourself that this too will pass. We have to ask ourselves, how many times have we allowed people, places, and circumstances in our lives to derail us from what we desire? When you're experiencing something through the lens of the 5 senses in the physical, and it doesn't resonate with what you want, sometimes we become consumed by it. We become this negative emotion. We fixate on worst case scenario, and we feel that, okay, in order to deal with this obstacle, I have to fight through it. I have to run through it. I have to apply force. I have to work hard because this is the only way out. And when we're in this state, we spend more physical and mental energy than is required, you know? And when this is our response to life, this is how we burn out. The idea is to learn to endure what is happening, knowing that having unwavering faith in what we desire is how we will manifest. It's about having belief in creating a life with ease and flow requires us to stand firm in who we are, align with our desires, not take our sight off the end goal. And by maintaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled, this situation, which is just a physical occurrence, will pass. The next time something comes up and we're facing an obstacle and we feel like we have to be reactive, we can stand still knowing that we are the creator of our experiences. As Neville stated, the reward is to the one who endures and stands still. When you talk about what you desire for yourself, do you say, I would like to have this one day, or I'll hope that I'll be this, or have these things? Or do you see yourself as having now and being now that which you desire to be? Although it's such a minor thing, it does make a world of a difference, right? To see yourself as having something in the future indicates what you don't have, or that you aren't what you desire to be. Whereas to claim the thing now is to be it now, is to embody it now, right? The idea is to be psychologically where you want to be physically, into you are physically where you desire to be psychologically. And the reason why we do this is it allows you to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, but it also keeps you focused through distractions. When the things that you're experiencing through your five senses reveal to you that maybe you are not where you desire to be yet, you want to have something that keeps you grounded and that allows you to stand firm in your knowingness of who you are and what you are and how you serve and what you're capable of. Whatever you're conscious of is whatever you will receive. And whatever is impressed is whatever is believed. So whether right or wrong, it will be impressed on the subconscious and expressed in the outside world and experienced by you and believed to be true by you. And this kind of cycle continues. So if you believe positive things, you will impress positivity. This will be expressed as positivity in your outside world. If you believe negative things, your negative thoughts will be impressed on your subconscious and expressed as negativity in your outside world. As Neville said, to him that hath, it shall be given, and to him that hath not, it shall be taken away. What you believe at the core is what's manifested in your reality. If you believe abundance, it'll be abundance. If you believe poverty, it will be poverty. And that's why they say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Those that see themselves as rich believe themselves to be rich. This is expressed as more riches, and this confirms what they see. Those that see themselves to be poor believe themselves to be poor. This is impressed on the subconscious, expressed in the outside world, and they receive more poverty, and so on and so forth, right? All things gravitate to the consciousness in which you attune to. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you, I go prepare a place for you. And if I go prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. And that where I am, you may be also. John chapter 14, verse 22. The I in this quotation is your imagination. I go and I prepare a place for you. I imagine myself in my desired state, and I assume that to be true. Then I prepare that state in the future and the present, right? Mansion is that state desired, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So basically, you go and you prepare yourself by imagining yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Then you move forward through a series of events, people, places, and circumstances. This is the bridge of incidences that are bringing you from where you physically are to where you imagine yourself to be, right? If I go and I prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you onto myself. So you may be physically where I imagine you to be, right? It's connecting you through the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which you imagine for yourself, through events, through people, places, and circumstances that are bringing you across the bridge to your desired state where you imagine yourself to be. So you may be physically where you desired yourself to be psychologically. And we can move ourselves from where we physically are to where we desire to be through a number of ways. Neville's talking about the bridge of incidents here. He's also mentions prayer. When ye pray, believe that ye receive, and ye shall receive. And prayer is one of the ways that we can bring forth our desires. When ye pray, believe that ye receive, and ye shall receive. Through prayer, you claim yourself and decree what you desire to be, that feeling of the wish fulfilled, and fuse that with the imagination. And you can do this through a state akin to sleep as you're drifting off. You can do this throughout the day or first thing in the morning. And the idea is to reinforce that in which you desire to be, to phrase that, to decree that. And as you decree, so shall ye be. One of the ways and one of the tools that we can use to bring forth what we desire is through prayer. Neville says, when ye pray, believe that ye receive, and ye shall receive. Sleep is one of the tools that we can use to align with prayer to bring forth what we truly desire. And sleep occupies 1/3 of our stay on earth, right? It is in sleep or prayer or state akin to sleep where we enter the subconscious and we leave our instructions. This is how we connect with our subconscious. The idea is, as you're entering sleep and you're entering a state of prayer, you always want to align with the feeling of the wish fulfilled before you go to sleep, and allow that to be your passenger, or allow that to be the way you enter the subconscious. Fishermen know that if they wish to catch big fish, they must fish in deep waters. If you were to catch a large measure of life, you must leave behind the shallow waters with its many reefs and barriers and launch out into the deep blue waters where big ones play. And we often encounter this when we set goals. Usually we set goals based on what we think we can achieve. We try not to set goals that are out of our reach, because oftentimes we can't see how we could possibly attain them. But to catch big fish, we must fish in deep waters. Or to attain a big dream, we must dream big. What's impressed in the subconscious can either motivate you to fish in big waters or limit you to fish in shallow waters. Therefore, when I look at this, I realize that, before you set these career or life goals, you want to take inventory and clean house, right? Do the necessary work to see if there are any limited beliefs and any limited decision makings within you that may cause you to limit yourself in terms of what you believe you can reach or what you believe you can attain. And if there are limited beliefs, you want to remove those limited beliefs and place them with more positive and empowering beliefs that will support your journey and align you with your desires and your truth within, right? Like, for instance, if I have limited beliefs, I may not believe that I'm capable of going out on my own to become an entrepreneur, but I may believe that I'm good enough to say, deserve that raise or deserve a promotion. And people do these things all the time. We do them in relationships, for instance. We feel that I'm good enough to be with person A, but I'm not good enough to be with person B, who I truly desire. But we have to remember that we are the dreamers of our dreams. We set our own goals. We also set our own boundaries. We also set our own limitations. Therefore, whatever you are conscious of being will always be expressed in the world. But we need to take ourselves there and create that reality for ourselves, right? Let our dreams, let our imagination be the blueprint for what we plan to build for ourselves, and allow our future to become present by living in that state today so that you can dwell in that state tomorrow. Neville stated, no one can stop you from dwelling psychologically at any point or in any state in time or space, regardless of the physical barriers separating you from the objective. You can, without effort or help from anyone, annihilate time, space, and barriers. Through repeated steps and procedures, we're able to do this for ourselves. We're able to build our desired state. We can place ourselves psychologically where we desire to be physically until we are physically where we imagined ourselves to be psychologically. First, we have to define the objective, know what you desire so you have a clear mental picture of it. Second, take your attention away from the obstacles that separate you from the objective. And then third, close your eyes and feel that you are already in that state that you would capture, right? And this repetition allows the desire to be solidified. In Your Faith is Your Fortune, Neville is really highlighting the importance of having faith, having belief, highlighting that it is the prerequisite to bringing forth what you truly desire. Oftentimes in the world that we live in, we're so occupied by sensory things that we feel as though if we focus on the sensory things in our world, if we focus on action, if we focus on the mechanics, we can build what we want. We can manipulate the physical world and form to bring forth what we want. But we have to remember nothing is made that is made. This is not the essence of creation. Creation resides from within. And as long as we align with our inner self, our imagination, and the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and we have faith first, we can bring forth what we truly desire. We can experience true happiness, true bliss, and true grace in our experience in this world. Thank you for joining me in today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you.